pyramid in the stars. I'm so excited to be here. I brought one of my favorite pieces of jade, and I'm going to talk about abundance today. So, I found this myself in Big Sur, and I want to start out this channel by telling my story of abundance and how it began to miraculously show up as I began to focus on my intentions in life. I love you. I love this stone. I'm going to tell you my whole dream and everything about it. We'll call this the Buddha stone because of my dream. So, my abundance journey started out when I was about 18 years old. I became a massage therapist. And when I did that, my world cracked open like an egg. And I often describe it like cracking open like an egg. All of a sudden that year, when I was 18, I realized, even though I had known deep down that a lot of concepts were not right for me, like I never believed in heaven and hell. And the funny thing about it was none of these beliefs felt right. And when I began massage and I started healing people's bodies, I realized there was so much more. And I learned how to manifest in my life and tune in better. I was already using my intuition, but we'll get to that in another video. And also, I had some miraculous experiences healing people. I did things, I tapped into things that I didn't think were possible. I spent a long time, the year or two after it happened, questioning myself. So let's say stage one is recognition, okay? So you got to recognize how to create a little program of creation in your life. And abundance, love, and moving in the direction that you want to go in your life all has to do with frequency and vibration. Your frequency is like a sonar. So I want you to think of a drop of water that goes in, and your sonar goes out into the world, and it's reverberating off of other things that it's in alignment with. So it goes ping off of something and it sends that vibration back to you, but this is traveling fast. For example, NASA even tested sending regular astronauts to space. Nobody was intuitive on the ground, and guess what happened? Our consciousness is the fastest spaceship in the universe. So what happened was, when people on the ground, people in space looked at different shapes and cards, people on the ground, without a shadow of a doubt, were able to predict with so much accuracy what they were looking at, that there was no doubt in NASA's mind that that consciousness wave was traveling to Earth almost instantly. It was something like 400,000 miles. So one joke I have with my guides is that your consciousness is your spaceship. And it's sweet and all that we think we need to build spaceships and go into space. But the things that we're looking for in space are in different frequencies. And, we're not going to realistically be able to accomplish what we think we are in space. So back to abundance. You've got to create a plan. How do you do this? You decide the things that you want to focus on, and you find different ways to remind yourself of those things. So you can focus on very specific things, but be sure that you're not always using your power of creation for only gaining things. You know, we are creators, and I believe that it's important to take that seriously and send a lot of energy towards the earth and the greatest good for all. And also, we all need to be setting a collective intention to uncover the truths that have been held from us. We need to crack open those consciousness eggs. So, our society needs to shift from so much self-focus and I'm got to be better than you and do better than you, and we need to shift into the fact that we're all creators and this place is so abundant. So before we tell you how to be abundant, make sure that you're giving back some of your program of abundance to the universe and the greatest good of all. All the people who think that they're not connected are connected to all of us. So that means that whether we think we have, let's say in society, these people who are in control of the world, they're connected to us. And there is no way to sever that tie, or would you want to when you understand things spiritually. But just remember that we are always affecting each other. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be human in certain moments. You know, I'm totally human myself. We want to make sure, you know, that when we're creating, we're not just thinking about the self all the time. It's a lot bigger than that. So step one is you want to focus on certain things and start pulling them in to your life. So the way that you do that is whatever these things are that you've chosen that you want to create, and it's best to keep it a little less complicated at first and start small. So start small. You can always put out general manifestations like health, abundance, consciousness, oneness. These are things I've always put out, but I get more specific. So let's bring the jade back, for example. So this jade came to me in a dream before I found it. I was in Big Sur, where we all know that there's a lot of jade. I'm gonna hold my little jade like a baby for a minute. And when I was little, I had this little green stone, and I kind of used to tease my brother and say, I'll find 1,000,000 of these when I'm an adult, okay? And I am convinced that all of those years that I carried this little stone, and I used to tell the story over and over again that I would find 1,000,000 of them when I was an adult, manifested. And what was even more amazing about the vibration, when that creation came to be, I had met my husband, and my husband said, hey, why don't you start looking for jade here and there and everywhere? And guess what happened? I found thousands and thousands of pieces of jade. My guides tell me I had a treasure vault in more than one life. And, you know, if it ever hits the fan, I know where thousands and basically an unlimited supply. There's another place in California where I was told by people who had studied jade for over 20 years. I was told that there is jade there, but people don't really know. And the ironic story about this is jadeite. So jadeite and nephrite are both jade. Mostly in California you find nephrite. And what happened was I had a dream that I was running like Indiana Jones through a cave all night and there were people running through the cave looking for something. But I remember in this dream that I was kind of relaxed about it. I was like, why are these people going crazy, running around looking for this thing. And then all of a sudden I had this feeling inside, and I put my hand on a stone wall in my dream, and the wall opened, and there was a white and light green piece of jade. And this is also a shape that's like a healing shape. And when I found it, all that was sticking out of the sand was this much, just the top. So this jade, I just love it so much. I'm treating it like a baby. I know. You can treat your stones like a baby too. So running through the cave, put my hand on the wall. It opens for me, but it will not open for the other people. So the next day I'm walking along this beach, kind of thinking, okay, we're gonna hunt for some jade, right? And these things start glowing in the sand. I mean, it's hard to describe. It was like a halo of green, and I knew immediately that's jade. And I ran to these spots, and this was one of them. And the jade experts that wrote a book on California jade told me it was impossible to find jadeite in the location that I was at, that they'd never seen it or heard of it before. How's that for Jade Buddha from the universe? So when we're talking about manifestation, things from your childhood, like this jade thing, may pop up, surprise you. So things like this, these things are sometimes kind of intense to the point where I have tears of joy. It's rare that things overwhelm me like that with joy, and I actually have real tears of joy. This is the Jade Buddha in my dream, and this was impossible to find. So you can create things like this in your life, and you need to understand that sometimes this stuff is mixed with your karma. So after I found thousands of these, and I said, what do I need so many of them for? You know, I don't need this much for myself. I didn't really want to sell them necessarily. I've given away hundreds of pieces of jade. I have thousands of pieces of jade, and I know where millions more are. And this is one example of how I created abundance, but it kind of surprised me. So some of the other things I did was I really targeted my energy. I had intention words written on my water bottle so that it would remind me that these are my intentions right now. I also tuned up all my electronics. So I put my hands over every electronic, and I tuned them not to harm me with EMFs. And that was another interesting story about using intention to create something. So we're gonna call this video how to create abundance, but this is really creation, you know, in general. And I think when you get aligned with this energy, that you can create in many ways. And one way I chose to create was to protect myself from EMFs, because we're really bombarded with those. And I set intentions around all my electronics, and then I had something, it was a practice session of, they hook you up to a machine and it asks you 10,000 questions, something feedback. I'll think about it in a minute, but it's a machine that asks your body all these questions, and it picked up on a couple of things in my body that I didn't even know were going on. They were health issues. It was very accurate, and the lady almost fell out of her seat when she did part of my reading, and she goes, oh my God, you know, and I was like, what, am I dying? And she said, no, you're okay. But wow. And she said, your EMF rating is a 1 out of 10. And she said, the average person is an 8 or a 9 out of 10. What are you doing? I said, well, I put stones around my house. I set intentions not to allow these things to harm my body, to have kind of a little, you know, reflector going on. And believe it or not, that showed up in my body randomly when I just trusted that it was working. And she said she needed to know what I was doing because she had never seen someone that low, and she had done a lot of sessions. Me and the universe, you know, but it can be you and the universe. We are all equal. One thing my guides have always said is, do we think of babies or children as less than ourselves? No, I don't think that we do at all. I think that we think that they're beautiful, growing little beings. Maybe there's someone out there who doesn't think that, but I think that. And we think that they're beautiful growing beings and that they're going to become adults one day. And that's how your soul is. It doesn't matter if you're a baby soul or your old, you know, grandma and grandpa soul that's here to help a lot of the others. I am a grandma soul, by the way. Raise my hand. Me. I actually was, I don't want to say I wasn't thrilled, but I was surprised when I figured out this, that basically my soul has had a lot of lifetimes and experience, and I was here to help the masses and build for the masses. And these videos are a long time coming. I waited until human consciousness was more ready. I knew 5 years ago that we were going to be coming out of the dark age, and I'll do a separate video on that. So anyway, you are a powerful creator, just like I am. You might be surprised at what you can create, you know, doing meditations, even setting alarms a couple times a day, whatever you can do to see your intentions. You can make dream boards. You can do anything creative that's going to put the intentions in front of your face and make you focus on them part of the day. You know, you could even tape them on the wall. You can do so many things, and these things in your life will start coming true. Now, some of these things for me took years to happen, but none of it took longer, I would say, than about 5 years. Some things I asked were a big ask, and I had to work the energy for a while. So keep that in mind. These aren't going to pop up instantly in your life. All right, I love you all. I'm going to work on a more beautiful introduction that helps us set our intentions when we are watching these videos. I would like to close this video with please subscribe if you feel inspired. I'm going to try my best to do 2 to 4 videos a month. If I feel inspired, I might do 2 a week sometimes. And I really want to help, you know, basically share my perspective and my soul's knowledge with all of you. So I close this video with light and love. I ask that all of our bodies are clear of any energy that is not for our greatest good. And I ask that you all be extremely abundant. See you next time.